Ask people in the media as to what's happening with buyers in the GTA, and they'll use words or phrases like they're holding off, they're being careful or cautious, and that kind of thing. Ask 99 out of 100 realtors, and they'll tell you, listen, they're confused. They don't know what the heck is going on quite often. And why would that be? Well, heavens, if you look at the media and some of the stuff that's happening, for example, these two articles that are on the screen right now, one showing signs of recovery, oh, well, that seems kind of nice. And the other one's, oh, same day, mind you. Oh, the GTA housing market is completely falling off the cliff. And this happens all the time. You can read about things about the Canadian. Never look at Canadian housing market. That makes no sense whatsoever. It's like saying people. Which guy? Who? Where? Canadian market is falling or is not doing great. And then meanwhile, at the same time, Saskatchewan as a province, which is a big province, by the way, they're having, record high prices because of low inventory. What? See, it's important to get down to the nitty-gritty in terms of statistics and information, and overall, it's important not to fall for the clickbait and this kind of stuff. And I know a lot of people are confused because I get phone calls from people who are looking to possibly enter the market. They have no idea what's going on. Is it actually like this, Andrew? Listen, let me answer you the way I answered them and get right to the GTA housing market update. So beautiful people, the essential GTA housing market update for July of 2025. I'm going to get right to the notes. Listen, quite often, right about this time, a lot of people already clicked on the next video, whatever. Don't do that here. Especially if you pause this, or if you want, go to the end. There's some very important stuff for sellers, especially. If you're on the market right now, you're probably making a very big mistake, or at least probably 40% chance you're making a big mistake. Go to the end, towards the last few minutes of the video, and look at that, what I'm saying to sellers specifically. Look for the Simpsons GIF. You'll see it. You'll know what I'm talking about. So that aside, guys, listen. Regardless of what's happening in the media and what you've been hearing, did you notice this? This is July 2025. I'm doing this in the first week here. Did you notice sales in June were actually pretty good? Did you know that? Did you know that housing affordability is actually better now than it has been in 3.5 years? Which is a big deal considering everyone seems to be talking about housing affordability. Interesting word, affordability, by the way. Did you know that buyer confidence is actually moving up and not down? Now, I just said that people are confused, and they are very much that. But time and time again, people are starting to learn from maybe a few thousand people watching this kind of a market update versus a lot of the other ones which are utterly negative, and they seem to get way more views than mine. I'm not jealous, believe me, whatever. I'm just saying that there's a lot of people listening to information that may or may not be actually accurate at all. But of course, negative sells. And so I'm going to say not necessarily positive, but I'm going to give you the truth, and you guys do with it what you will, as I do every month. So as always, that's the purpose. Provide you valuable information, actual information. I'm not doing this in order to get more sales. If I happen to get more sales, fantastic. In fact, in this particular market, I should be. If you're a buyer, you should be contacting me right now. But I want you guys to have real information. I feel better in general because this is a few minutes of my time, whatever, for you guys to know what's actually happening versus the overhype or underhype. Okay? Get the facts. Deal with it what you want. Hit like and subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube. I always appreciate that. Thank you very much for many of you who have. QR code right there. That's a little real estate experience. There's a lot of my contact info in there as well. As always, the first thing in line under the video is my information. Click on it. 15 minutes of your time. Listen, whatever. You might have questions, whatever you want to chat. You have some plans possibly coming up. We'll chat. There's no obligation. I'm not going to try to sell you into some long appointment. There's no salesy, nothing. I'm just going to answer questions and give you information that you want. So there's the information there. So let's get right into what's been happening in the market right now. So this is June 25. It's the last month, which is what, a week and a half ago. Interestingly here, so a lot of not great, but not bad. This isn't falling. And again, month over month, you got to take everything with a bit of grain of salt. This is all of the GTA. I'll be doing my Midtown, one of my favorite areas, Midtown Toronto. If you're in Midtown Toronto, wait a week or two. Yeah, I should probably less than a week. I'll get you a market update specifically. But listen, this is GTA wide, but very important. So year over year, last month, in terms of sales, we're pretty much the same. Down 2.2% is nothing. So right off the bat, you notice what you hear, nothing selling, and what you actually see in the numbers is, wait a second, quite a bit of selling. It's almost a normal month, give or take. It's almost a mediocre month, which is far from falling or collapsing in terms of sales volume. Now, because of the high inventory, it doesn't look like much, which is, contrast. Perspective is a big deal. Now, interesting prices, this is the biggest drop in price I've seen in a while, 5.4%. Now, this isn't, earth-shattering, this isn't sky-falling business kind of thing, but in general, 5% is a big deal. Now, it's month over month, and who knows what will happen in July by the time the month is over. Maybe, we'll be back down to minus 2% or whatever. So that's year over year. So it's not a huge drop. So in essence, prices are kind of similar to what they were, maybe a little bit lower, and then you become area dependent. Is that area specifically having less sales than maybe some of the areas around? That's an area where the price might be dropping more than 5%. So that's important to know. But in general speaking, that's not bad. 5% not great. Certainly not what we're used to in the GTA. New listing. This is really important. Look at this green one here and this big fat red one here. Those are really important. So please pay attention. New listings is very similar. It's only up 7%. So it's very similar to June of last year. So my point, here's what I'm saying. There are not as many new listings coming into the market as there were month after month of this year. We're just loading them onto the market. So now we're getting closer to about average, or give or take, number of new listings, new properties hitting the market. But the issue is that we have, the red circle, a huge amount of active listings. So while we're not putting on the market as many listings as we were before, and we're kind of slowing that down a little bit, as you'll see in the month over month, the active listings are still really, really high. And as a matter of fact, one thing I'm not a prognosticator, but I will say that probably for the rest of the year, certainly, we're going to have a high inventory market, because it's just impossible to eat all this up, that quickly, pretty much. So, not as many new listings hitting the market, but there's lots of active listings. That's why you're seeing so many for sale signs wherever it is you're driving around. You probably see it. Clients call me all the time saying, hey, listen, lots of for sale signs where I'm going. What's going on? And I explain to them. Now, days on market is higher than June as well. So you put those two together, high active listings and high days on market, and that's where you see a lot of signs, because homes are sitting on the market longer before they sell, and there's lots more of them in the first place. But again, new listings not as high, so that number of active listings is slowly going to start coming down a little bit. Month over month, the only thing you need to know is days on market is actually not bad at all. But again, new listings month over month were significantly lower here, minus 9%. So that's starting to come down, as this usually happens in the summer. So that huge inventory that you have, it's going to come down a little bit. But overall, that's what's been happening. Less hitting the market, but a lot more active listings. But overall, price-wise, sales-wise, it's not like we're collapsing. It's nothing crazy. It just seems slow because of the huge inventory. The inventory is the subject of the day, so to speak. Now, I want you to see this. I'm going to minimize myself here. So we talked about in terms of the market, sales. Sales are down slightly, almost the same as June of last year. Prices slightly down, 5%. That's the biggest of the year so far. And that's probably going to change. The price will be a little more average next month. But listen, affordability, this is not really well known. So I did the full graph. The next one's going to be a tighter graph. So this is back from the 1980s. Look at affordability. Now, yes, of course, we're significantly higher. And so it's not as affordable now as it was, say, in 2015, 2010. I was in the market then. I was in real estate then. I remember those times. But look, we're nowhere near the top here. I made a black line here where we are right now. So we're roughly where we were at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. So interestingly, in the past 3.5 years, give or take, the affordability has actually been worse than it is now. So I'm trying to build a case here for you buyers or those thinking of entering the market. So very high inventory, prices down slightly. And that affordability in general, in terms of income, employment, blah, 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 affordability index, it's actually better than it has been in 3.5 years. High inventory, more affordable than it has been in the 3.5 years. Please continue. This is just a tighter version of this. And again, this is the 2021 quarter 3. This is 2020 over here. So roughly here, 2021 is where it was last time in terms of affordability, where we are currently. So that's kind of important. People keep talking about affordability. Yes, it's your GTA. It's never going to be cheap. Goodness gracious. It's just not going to happen, guys. However, I mean, that's a pretty big difference. So for the past 3.5 years, which includes some years that were very, very busy in terms of the housing market, we're doing better than we were then. Moving forwards, this is very interesting. You think, okay, there's no confidence in that. No, well, listen, confidence did drop, admittedly. You'll see right here, right around the springtime of this year. Confidence was really dropping. We have tariffs, we had the election, the Donald Trump doing stuff down south, the world, stuff happening, wars and whatnot. Listen, it was weird. And people, in terms of the economy and everything else, they were not very confident. But look what's been happening since towards the end of April, beginning of May. Look how much higher it is now. And that's Bloomberg Now's confidence index. So confidence of buyers is starting to pick up, which is fantastic, because it should be, because the market has been pretty resilient and there's a lot of stuff out there for buyers. There's a lot of opportunity. So you've got high inventory, slightly lower prices, overall housing affordability is the best it's been in about, 3.5 years. And now you got buyers' confidence up. So eventually buyers are going to start coming back in. Maybe you should be one of those. And of course, people always ask me about inflation rates. And of course, next announcement in terms of inflation is going to be July 15th. We're not there yet. But inflation-wise, which does affect interest rates, at this point, this time right now, in the first week or so of July, you're looking at about 25%, 30% chance of the interest rates coming down. So as it stands, it probably will not change. However, the inflation will certainly play a large role in that. And so far for the past 2 months, before we get the June stats, we're looking at 1.7, well under 2%. I know there's core inflation as well, but the point is it's a positive thing. So again, trying to build a case here. So buyers, here's what you need to be doing. This is really important. Again, I'm actually looking for buyer clients at this point. Past year and a half, 2 years of most of my business has been on the sell side of things. I do both, of course, but like 70% sellers. Nothing wrong with that. I'm happy to get the business. But what I'm saying is, goodness gracious, right now working with buyers would be fantastic because there's so much out there. Inventory is crazy high. Please note, over 32,000 active listings right now in the beginning of July. Prices are not plummeting. 5% on average is not a plummet. I'm sorry, that's not a plummet. You might never even notice on your mortgage, frankly. So sales are pretty close to normal. You saw that as well. So it's not things are not crazy. It's just really high inventory. That's the only really big difference versus kind of a normal year. Most forecasts still have at least 2 more interest rate cuts. I don't know if it's going to happen in July. However, over the year, many are saying 1 or 2, many are saying 2 specifically. So 2 more rate cuts put us down to probably, we're at 275, 2.5, 225, something like that in terms of rates. So even mortgages are going to be coming down. Sellers are motivated and entertaining different conditions. Guys, this is really important. Okay, all that stuff that was not available in 21 and 22 is available right now. A lot of the conditions and clauses that before sellers would not need to entertain them, they're available right now. So there's so much opportunity. And I'm going to put this all together. Again, I'm not trying to pressure guys or be negative towards buyers. I'm just trying to show you how much opportunity there is because I've been telling some of my former clients this, those who are not selling especially and just buying, holy cow. So you now have way more selection. So you have way more selection. Infinitely record high selection. You have lower prices. I've proven it already. Affordability, by the way, is the best it's been in 3.5 years. That's interesting. And you have lower rates with more lower rates to come. So if you buy something next month or so, it's not going to close for another month or 2. And by that time, probably be another rate cut. So your mortgage will be even lower than it is, say, this week. So honestly, sincerely, what is it that you're waiting for? This is literally what buyers have been waiting for in the GTA for a very long time. Lots of selection, lower prices, and affordability. But here's what people are going to say. Oh, it's not low enough yet, Andrew. This market needs to come down 30% before you... Okay, well, listen, with all due respect, you may be renting a while. Onwards, sellers, here we go. This is really funny, and it's very, very true. Sellers, please pay attention to this. I'm a humble realtor, not one of the superstar rock stars. However, a lot of people watch this, and if you're a seller, please understand this thing right here. One of the reasons listings are not selling now is not price. I promise you, and I'll give you 2 examples shortly that are easy. There's probably hundreds, maybe thousands of examples like that. So this is Three Stooges, the Three Stooges syndrome. I love this, Simpsons, by the way, especially the old episodes. But here's what it is. This is what's happening in the market. There's just too many listings. Too many listings hitting the market at the same time. And see, the buyers are kind of on this side here. This is where the buyers are, and the sellers are trying to get through, but they can't because there are too many. So what's the solution? I don't know. If you don't absolutely need to sell, you might want to hold off a little bit. Here's why. Because if there's too much on the market, your buyers are not interested in the first place. The demand is lower in the first place. Why? Because they're all confused because they're listening to media and everything else. So first of all, they're confused and holding off. The second is there's just too much inventory, too many choices. And here's the thing. You will not necessarily get through just because you have a low price. That's why this, I thought it was a really, really good example of this. So sellers, please note here, and I'm being emphatic because honestly, I'm talking to sellers regularly. Some are my own, some are people already listed with other realtors. They call me because they have information. They're allowed to do that, obviously. I don't call them. That's illegal. I don't do that. So, and they contact me and they ask them what's going on. I try to explain this to them. So listen, inventory is very high. Sales are increasing. That's a reality. But sales are increasing. They've gone up month over month. They're pretty decent. June was a half decent month. So sales are happening, but inventory is really, really high. It's too high. Too many people are probably hitting the market. Some maybe have to. Some really, really want to. But others are just putting it out there. Honestly, this is not the time to do that. So local area market knowledge is essential. And there's 2 current examples I'm going to let you know in terms of price. So I can think of one area specifically. This is on the west side of things. So there are many homes even on the same street. And there are 2 or 3 homes. Most of them are priced normally as to what they really should be. And there's always somebody who's desperate. They really need to sell. They've been on the market a long time. And they keep trying the low price. And here's the thing. Here's the proof positive. I can show it to you. I don't want to bore you with stats. I can actually show you the actual addresses and everything else. This cheap home is still not selling. And the cheap home is maybe 100,000 or more less than other homes on the street that are the same kinds of homes. So clearly, if price was the only issue, buyers would come and go see A, B, C. C is $120,000 less than A and B, and it's a similar kind of home. Clearly, I should be buying that house, and that house should be selling quickly. But it's not. Why isn't it? Because the demand just isn't there. They just don't want the house. So sellers, if you're watching this, stop for a second and think. Maybe the reason your house hasn't sold yet is the fact that it's not the price. They just don't want your house. The demand just isn't there yet. So you need to be patient. You need to understand that average days on market. Go back and watch the average days on market. Average days on market for a property is well over a month. If you have not been on the market for a month, don't even consider changing the price unless you're a stupid price and your agent was just trying to buy the listing, so to speak. Listen, sincerely, don't just give the house away. Remember the effect of you dropping your price and all your neighbors, all the other homes on the market, keeping their price. So they look weird because yours is so low. You're going to lower the value of the whole area if you do sell, but the reality is you might not sell, and this happens all the time. I said 2 examples. I can think of another example. The first example is in the mid 1 millions. This second example is in the like 600,000-700,000 range. Clearly more affordable. Several properties right in the same area of the same type that are priced about the same way. A little bit higher for a larger place, that kind of thing. All kind of makes sense. And there's one unit, I can tell you right now, one unit. You can tell what kind of property it is. There's one unit that is significantly lower. We're talking about maybe 10%, 8% lower than everybody else. And they're still on the market. They're not ugly, they're not disgusting. It's a nice place. The point being, it's not always price. And so listing agents sometimes, I know not the good ones, the ones who don't get many listings, they think, oh, it's always the price. You lower the price, someone will buy it. Yes, you're right. Drop the price 50%, someone will buy it. I'll buy it from you. Let me know, I'll buy it for you. Maybe the one you need financing condition. The point is, it's not always price. Sometimes they just don't want your property. You should know about this, which is why if you decide to sell, plan carefully right from the start. Know what the prices are supposed to be. Know the high and low end of it. And don't go below that. Unless you're desperate and you're sure you need to. And please understand, I have seen people that are desperate and they have not yet sold even with a low price. Okay, that should tell you something. If you're listed and not getting a lot of action, price may not be your issue. That's really important. Now, I'm saying that my only self-interest there is if I have a listing in the area and you're lowering it quite a bit, then I look bad. And my homeowner looks bad. And the whole area is going to lose value. So don't drop the price just because. Please don't. And know what you're doing. If you have questions, my information is always at the bottom. Feel free. Even if you're listed right now, you can call me. Take 15 minutes. Click on time. We'll chat about where you're at. I'll give you a couple of hints or something like that. Or just be another voice, a third party to tell you, hey, listen, it's not the price. They just don't want your house right now. Be patient. Give it more time. So, guys, that's July 2025. Thank you so much for listening. As always, just valuable information. This is really important. I know it's not as sexy as some of the other things, not as negative and clickbaity as a lot of the other videos, but this isn't what I do. What I do is provide you actual on-the-market information. Hit like and subscribe if you're interested. QR code for my little real estate experience. Always my little link to my Calendly. Click on that. 15 minutes of your time, 15 minutes of my time. I'll make it worth your while. If you have questions, that kind of thing, let me know. I'm glad to help any way I can. Enjoy the rest of July. I'll see you guys in August.